In this Monster Hunter Wilds video, we're going to be taking a look at the Switch Axe, its combos, its moves, its changes. If you're a new player wondering how to use the Switch Axe in Monster Hunter Wilds, this video is made for you. And also, if you're a returning player wondering what's different about the Switch Axe compared to previous installments in the franchise, you will also get something out of this video. If you're looking for a versatile weapon in Monster Hunter Wilds that can do massive amounts of damage, then the Switch Axe is for you. However, the mechanics of the Switch Axe can feel complicated for new players to the series, and as such, it's not a great weapon choice for new hunters. The Switch Axe offers great reach in its axe form and great damage in its sword form, and is the optimal weapon for players who are seeking the best of both worlds, whether you're a veteran hunter or a newcomer willing to learn the mechanics. So let's take a look at combos first for the Switch Axe in Monster Hunter Wilds. The first combo is the combo for Quick Switch Gauge Fill. This first combo is a fast one to fill the switch gauge while in axe mode. This combo can be easily chained into another combo using the forward slash or forward overhead slash. This combo is performed by pressing Y, 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 or triangle, triangle, triangle. The next combo is the axe combo to switch to sword mode. This basic combo will be one of the main tools for Switch Axe users, as the combo allows you to morph into the sword mode. You can perform this combo by repeatedly tapping B, then pressing Y, then right trigger, then B, or by repeatedly pressing circle, then triangle, then R2, then circle again. The next combo is the combo to fill the amp gauge in sword mode. This combo is for the sword mode and is a quick combo useful for filling the amp gauge quickly. To perform this combo in sword mode, you'll press B and then B again, or circle and then circle again. The next combo is a basic sword mode combo with a series of slashes that you can move in any direction between each slash. To perform this combo while in sword mode, you press Y, 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 or triangle, triangle, triangle. And the last combo is the powerful combo when the monster is open, and it has a very strong finisher that deals lots of damage. To perform this combo, you press Y plus B, then rapidly tap Y, and then press right trigger, or press triangle plus circle, rapidly press triangle, and then press R2. Note that you can perform the new full release slash instead of the unbridled slash if you're in the amp state when doing this combo by holding right trigger at the end of it instead of pressing it, or holding R2. Next, we'll take a look at some of the mechanics the Switch Axe possesses that make the Switch Axe the Switch Axe. The Switch Axe uses Phials just like its cousin the Charge Blade, but they function differently. A Switch Axe's Phial determines what kind of damage or status effect you'll do when you fill up your amped gauge and go into the amped state. In Monster Hunter Wilds, Switch Axes will have 6 different Phials, with a Power Phial that boosts physical damage, the Element Phial that boosts elemental damage, the Poison Phial, the Paralysis Phial, the Dragon Phial, and the Exhaust Phial, each adding the respective status effects to the sword attacks in the amped state. The main aim of the Switch Axe user is to be in the amped state as much as possible, and to that end, you'll need to manage your amped gauge accordingly, switching between your axe and sword attacks. The Switch Axe functions with 3 different gauges that hunters need to manage while fighting, so we'll mention them here. Landing attacks in axe mode or when reloading charges the switch gauge, and after accumulating at least 30% of the switch gauge, morphing and attacking in sword mode consumes the gauge. Hunters will need to keep this in mind and maintain the balance between charging up the gauge and consuming the gauge, because you cannot use sword mode unless you have at least 30% of your switch gauge filled. The amp gauge fills when landing attacks in sword mode, and filling the amp gauge puts you in the amped state and adds Phial explosions to the sword mode attacks, as well as enables new moves like the powerful full release slash, which is performed by holding right trigger and pressing Y and B on Xbox, or holding R2 and pressing triangle and circle on PlayStation. The Power Axe mode buffs the axe damage and charges the switch gauge faster, which is one of the new changes in Monster Hunter Wilds. The Power Axe mode can be activated by landing certain follow-up attacks and combo finishers. Next, let's take a look at some of the changes to the Switch Axe as well as some of its moves. Already a versatile weapon, the Switch Axe has received numerous new tools and attacks that boost the weapon's responsiveness, and with the addition of the new offset attacks and counterattacks to both its forms, the Switch Axe is in the most responsive state it's ever been in this series. Offset is a new type of attack that was added in Monster Hunter Wilds. These attacks fill up an invisible offset meter on the monster, much like a status effect, and will topple the monster when you trigger the effect. And like status effects, the subsequent triggers will get harder and harder to trigger after the first topple. The more flashy additions to the Switch Axe are the Full Release Slash and the Unbridled Slash. Full Release Slash is a charged version of Unbridled Slash, which does more damage but takes longer to execute. Although these moves naturally flow into classic element discharge combo finishers, these new moves are not exclusive to combo finishers and can be used on their own. To perform the Unbridled Slash, press right trigger plus Y plus B on Xbox, or press R2 plus triangle plus circle on PlayStation, and to perform the full release version, hold down the right trigger or hold down R2 instead of pressing it. As you play with the switch axe, you'll find these moves can be performed while in sword mode. When you perform these moves, you'll spin around and deal a huge amount of elemental damage, but the trade-off is that these moves consume a large amount of the switch gauge and end with you morphing back into the axe form at the end of each attack. You can only perform the more powerful full release slash in the amp state, but you can perform the unbridled slash version anytime you're using the sword. The switch axe also gains access to the new powerful offset attack with the offset rising slash, which is performed by pressing Y plus B on Xbox or triangle plus circle on PlayStation, which if you can connect it to the monster's attack will topple the monster, and then you can follow up with one of two follow-up attacks, the heavy slam, which is Y on Xbox or triangle on PlayStation, which puts your axe into the power mode, or the follow-up morph slash, which is right trigger on Xbox or R2 on PlayStation, which will allow you to directly morph into the sword for sword attacks. The power axe mode also can be accessed by doing the wild swing attack, which is done by rapidly tapping B on Xbox or circle on PlayStation with your axe out and ending the combo with a heavy slam. The sword mode gains access to a similarly powerful attack named the counter rising slash, which is performed by pressing right trigger plus Y on Xbox or R2 plus triangle on PlayStation while in sword mode. The counter rising slash can be performed at any moment or after any attack. This move makes the hunter ready up for a second, and when the monster's attack hits you during this time, you'll counter with 2 attacks in a row, which can directly flow into the regular combos of the Heavenward Flurry, which is B on Xbox or circle on PlayStation, after double slash for powerful attacks. Zero-sum discharge makes a return from the previous games, and just like before, you need to be in the amp state to perform this attack. While in sword mode, hold down Y plus B and then press Y on Xbox after latching onto the monster, or hold down triangle plus circle and then press triangle on PlayStation after latching on. With the addition of focus mode, you can aim at the part that you want to latch onto, and after landing it, unleash a multi-hit discharge, an explosion just like the element discharge. The focus mode strike, named Focus Assault Morph Combination, is performed while in focus mode by pressing RB on Xbox or R1 on PlayStation, and has 2 different finishers depending on the mode you end your assault on the wound. When you connect the strike to a wound, the strike starts with wild swings, and during this you can freely morph between the axe and the sword states, and if you end it in the axe mode, you'll end with a heavy slam leading into the power axe state. If you end the assault in the sword mode, it will end with an element discharge finisher, which deals more damage but consumes some of your switch gauge. Final tips. The axe form has overall better mobility compared to the sword form, so keep this in mind when fighting and position yourself better in the axe form when you need to move around a lot. Also, you cannot block like its cousin the charge blade, so learning to evade attacks will help when using this weapon. The sharpness of your switch axe can go down rapidly when you use element discharge, so you need to keep an eye on it, especially after using the attack, which you will do a lot since it's one of the main damage sources for the switch axe. A useful tip is to use the whetstone generally after doing 2 discharges. The sword mode attacks utilize the switch axe Phials, enhancing attacks, making it useful for targeting tough body parts which are hard to break. Another thing to note during mounted attacks is that your attacks will refill your switch gauge slightly, so you can use this to top it up during hunts, which is a great tip. The addition of the offset slash and counter slash gives some defensive options to the switch axe, so it's worthwhile to learn the timing to land these attacks, especially since they can topple monsters and give your team wide openings for attacks. If you're using the switch axe for your main weapon and you're looking for powerful strikes, a good secondary weapon for power is the great sword. The great sword will complement your already powerful moveset with access to powerful charged attacks and an offset slash of its own, providing you with a great option to keep the pressure up while your switch axe's sharpness is down or your gauges are empty. If you're looking for a more defensive option for a secondary, you can either opt into the gun lance or the lance, as they have the best defense in the game, but will slow you down while using them. So that wraps up our switch axe guide for Monster Hunter Wilds. I hope you guys learned something from this, whether you were a brand new player or a returning player and you wanted to see what was different. As always, if you have other tips for switch axe users out there, maybe things I forgot to add in this video, or if you have questions about the switch axe, things you still don't understand, you can leave them in the comments below and I will try and answer them as soon as I can.